Hello, hello. Give everyone a few minutes to log on. Where's everyone from? Feel free to write in the chat. Oh, we got Colorado, Missouri. All right. Very nice. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina myself. So, oh, Cape Cod. I'm jealous. All right. Arizona, New York. All right. Perfect. All right. Well, everyone, happy Wednesday. Happy Bon Jovi Day, as a old coworker used to say. We're halfway there. So excited to be with everyone today. My name's Matt. I'm with the registration tech side of the house for Personified's A to Z events. So I'm an event technology consultant. I've been in the industry for, I don't know, 7, 8 years, something like that, at something around there. But love what I do. Love the event space. In general, I've touched the event tech side of it in just about every capacity you can imagine. I've been in the trenches, on site, making things happen and all that good stuff. A little bit about me personally. I have an awesome 3-year-old little girl named Lincoln. She's got my hands full, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do when our little boy comes here in April. So I have another one on the way. My wife and I, what we do in our spare time, we love to travel. So last time I counted, I think I'd personally been to about 22 countries. So, but enough about me. We are here to talk about events. So uh, just briefly, want to give you guys just an overview of kind of what Personify is from a high level. We are an extremely association and nonprofit centric organization, and we're really trying to develop a tech stack to service everything from A to Z. Believe it or not, about 25% of the population interacts with Personify products in one way or the other. I didn't realize that when I first came on, and thought that was real impactful. Got a great reputation, so great review marks across the board. And part of that is because of our experience. So really our events team is compiled of event professionals. A lot of us used to be previous clients. So we've been in your shoes. We know what goes on in putting on a great event, and what's at stake, especially when you've got executive directors and whatnot, and board members you have to answer to. Um, on the support side, we're pretty unique in kind of how we operate. We have a flexible model. We'll be there when you need us, act as an extension of your team, to again really manage everything to A to Z. But if your team's got a little bit has a few more resources, we can kind of fade into the shadows and just be that consultant, where you need us. The technology that I'm going to show you. So although we've been doing this exact suite for since 95, we recently came out with a new platform in 2022. It is tried and true. We've run millions of registrations, millions of attendees, millions of dollars through it. But it is, in terms of products, it is something that is going to be top of the market when it comes to performance and security. And not only do we work with some of the largest associations, and some of the smallest, but we also work with a number of large corporate organizations as well. So long story short, our tech suite can really scale, as small as you need it all the way up to as large as you need it. On the event tech side of things, we offer, again, kind of every tenet that you could imagine to run a successful expo, trade show, conference, so on and so forth. But today, what we're going to be focusing on is, again, the registration technology suite of solutions. Now, what this entails, it's going to be online registration, badge printing, lead retrieval, attendance tracking, and then CEU management. So um, A couple of components that support that is going to be event promotion. How can we drive more attendance to our events? What type of support do I have? When it gets to event technology, it's although our platform is intended to be as simple as possible, there still needs to be that layer of support to ensure success for everyone involved. So and then the data side of things, data. So that is, the hot topic right now. How do we collect the data? What do we do with the data? What does it mean? So we'll hit on each one of these areas briefly as we go through. Before we dive in, anyone have any questions? Feel free to pop off mute. Um, doesn't have to be event tech related. If you want to know what my favorite cookie is, happy to share that as well. Right, perfect. All right, with online registration. So this is, probably the most basic form of event technology. You need somewhere to direct your attendees to register for the event. What makes us unique and how our product was developed is how you can structure your attendee journeys. So you might have a few different attendee types. And what I mean by that, you might have members that are coming to your events. You might have non-members. Maybe you want to collect some information about your speakers. Maybe you're selling some sponsorships, and you want all that to be done through your online registration product. We can build out each one of those attendee types. We can build their journey out uniquely to really collect the information that you need from them and really streamline that registration process for your attendees. So enough talking. Let's go ahead and, or enough PowerPoint. Let's go ahead and jump into the products. So what you're seeing here is an event website, obviously. This is can be built, leveraging our tools. You can display, your general event information. But what we're going to jump into is registration. So when I click this registration button, what it's going to do, apologies, I thought I already had this open. You guys can tell it's live if there's no mistakes. So, all right. So, long story short, so in terms of your registration form, a couple of ways that we can get attendees there. So most popular is going to be including your registration form URL onto your event website. So attendees click that, it's going to pop them out into the registration form where they can enter their email address and proceed as necessary. Now, 90% of our registration forms are going to start with an email address, and there's a reason for that. Number one, you're capturing contact information. So we have an abandoned cart feature where you can target those who abandoned cart with communication and encourage them to get back in and finish up. Number two is if we're doing an integration. So we can use that email address to go and find that record in another database and pull over that attendee's information. Let's say what we have with the MemberClicks products is an SSO integration. So they can use their membership credentials to log into the registration platform, and it'll automatically put them on that member registration path. So I'm going to go ahead and log into a registration that I have started. All right, so once I enter my email address, it's then going to take me to a screen where I can choose my registration type. Should I have not had that integration, and I'm just doing this manually, the attendees will go in, they'll choose the registration type, and again, each one of these paths is going to differ. So I'll show you what the member path looks like. I'm Matt Dotson on this registration. You see a star on the admin on this registration, and I'll show you what that means here in a little bit. But again, this is a registration that I've already started for concept purposes to streamline this portion a little bit. But the attendee flow is going to remain the same. All right, so, and let me back up. So again, the power of this platform is the conditionality that can be built and really that attendee journey and what you're getting out of that attendee as they're registering. So a couple of things we can do. So what you'll see when I select non-member here is that another pop-up's going to pop up and say you're not a member. Hey, do you want to click here to join? Um, we can put pricing that's publicly available so they can see maybe member is less expensive than non-member. Here, there's reasons why that is, but they can see, hey, if I go and join the organization, I'll save a couple of $100 on registration. Um, we'll continue with the member path. Any terms, conditions, anything like that that you need them to acknowledge can be incorporated here. Simple checkboxes. Fields can be locked down so that they're required in order for an attendee to proceed in registration. And in terms of the type of fields that you can do, there's really the sky's the limit. Free form, drop downs, checkboxes, all that good stuff. All right, now that I've agreed to terms and conditions, I'm going to proceed to the next stage. The next stage is just going to be your standard demographic information. So attendees putting in their name, company, so on and so forth. These can be as detailed as you'd like. You can collect as much information on your attendees, again, as you'd like. The one thing I would advise when you're going through your implementation with registration and the fields that you're incorporating is make sure that the data you're collecting makes sense. Um, make sure that it's just not going to fall to white noise because it can start to complicate some things. So make sure the data that you're collecting is very, very intentional. Here, food allergies is a great one. So I'm providing meals at my event, so I want to make sure that I'm sensitive to any food allergies that my attendees may have. Once I move through the demographic side of things, then I get into session selection. So here, again, is where that conditional logic and that unique attendee journey can start to differ. So what you'll see here on the member registration path is that I have access to all 3 days and all sessions. What you'll see when I take you down to non-members, that's not necessarily the case. But we also have some pre-baked logic built in here where attendees can't double book themselves. So once they select a session for a time frame or for a time slot, they won't be able to double book themselves with another session in that same time slot. We can allow session selections if your event is just a static agenda or a free-for-all once attendees get on site. We can certainly incorporate that here as well. But now that I've selected all my sessions, we're going to carry on to the activities page. So here you'll see that attendees have the ability to select a number of different activities, ranging from golf, yoga, scavenger hunt. You'll see that only golf has a price tag associated to it. So once I select golf, you'll see that there's some additional conditionality built into that. Once I select golf, I'm coming from out of town, so I don't want to carry my clubs, so I'm going to need to rent clubs. Next question that's going to ask me is, hey, well, are you left or right-handed? What the beauty behind collecting this information during registration is you're very easily able to run a report on the back end saying, hey, this is how many clubs I need. These are how many left-handed, these are how many right-handed I need for the day of the golf outing. So very, very powerful. And then group registration. And that ties into what I have going right here. So it's going to ask me, do I want to register another? No, Andy and Michael are the only two attendees that I'm going to bring, so I'm going to stop here. I will pause for a brief moment and see if we have any questions. That is correct. This is a separate product than the registration product that is built into MemberClicks. The MemberClicks product is very powerful. So it's probably gonna tackle 99.9% of use cases. The registration product you're seeing here is to fill where member clicks doesn't fit. So great question. Right. All right, so let's jump on back. I'm going to go into Andy Bernard's record and let's go down there. Oh, you know what? I'm actually going to do Michael Scott and we'll go down to the non-member. So the big thing I want to point out here is how it differs once we get to session selection and once we get to activity selection. The user journey really is going to remain the same up until they start getting presented with those screens. So what you'll see in session selection is I no longer have the ability for days 2 and 3. Non-member was just day 1. They just get access to the basic sessions. Once we move to the activity selection portion, you'll see that number 1, they don't have access to day 2 activities. And number 2, they do not have access to golf. Golf was only a members only activity. So you can get very granular in what's displayed, like I said, to your different attendee types or different personas. It can be based off any criteria that the attendees are choosing with or filling out within the registration process. All right, and to jump back, we'll go and just show you briefly Michael or Andy Bernard and what his speaker path looks like. All right, so again, demographic fields roughly are going to remain the same information you need to collect from everyone. However, this can vary. So maybe I'm not serving speakers lunch. They don't need to see the food allergies question. I can hide this from them. Vice versa, I could have additional questions on that page for just speakers. But here you'll see a speaker that is just, or I'm sorry, you'll see a page that is just dedicated to speakers. One call out I want to stress here is the bio page. So when you're collecting information to potentially display on an event website, you want to make it very easy for your speakers to give you that information in a format that you can use. So when it comes to bios, I like to use character limit as an example. So you can limit how long a speaker can write about themselves. Same thing with presentations or videos or anything like that. We can certainly incorporate those fields here. Oh, thank you, Katie. Big Office fan. I actually have a signed poster sitting right across from me right now. Um, Perfect. Well, any questions on group registration or the attendee pass or anything like that? All right. Perfect. Last thing I'll hit on here on the attendee facing side is the payment and invoicing side of things. So what you'll see here is the itemized an itemized invoice and it'll be broken down per attendee. You'll see if they made changes. So as they've gone through, have they gone back and changed their attendee type or anything like that? All of that can be reconciled right here within our system. So it can either be done by invoice or via credit card. And then the promo code aspect, as you're seeing, I have used the promo code Dunder Mifflin 10, which gave me 10% off my non-member registration. So again, lots of power within the promo codes. It can be based on registration. It can be based on activity or line item. So lots and lots of flexibility. All right. Well, one last call for questions when it comes to online registration and kind of the attendee journey. All right, perfect. Now I'm going to pop into the back end. So we can segment events and group them, kind of however you need. What you're seeing here is an organizational dashboard. Under that organization, I can see all the events that are occurring throughout the year, all the events that have occurred, so on and so forth. So from an organization level, you can see metrics from a very high glance. You can see all-time performance across all events. You can filter it down to certain time frames. And as we get a little bit more granular here within the platform and start drilling down on a specific event, you will also be able to get that same information at a glance on an event level. I'll back up here for a second. So a couple of things that I want to point out here. So number one, users. So you can set up users with different permissions. So let's say, finance needs to come in and run reports. You can set up users to just be able to come in here and do that type of thing. Same thing, or company blacklist is another thing. So if you do have some folks you don't want to be able to register for your events, you can certainly put them on the naughty list. But let's go ahead and drill back down. So we'll jump into the A to Z Decisions Conference. This is the registration site that I walked you through. This is my own personal demo environment. So again, you will see individual metrics based on this event. And then as we drill down into each module, you will start seeing more granular metrics. We're very dashboard centric, but you'll see easy metrics at a glance. So a couple of key things I want to point out here on the data side of things. So number one, complete versus incomplete. If you see a low amount of completes and a high amount of incompletes, that could mean that there's some hang up within your registration flow and registration product process that's hindering attendees from completing it. So it could be a red flag to go in and take a look at something. You'll also see where your traffic's coming from. So is it domestic? Are you getting some folks from overseas? And all that good stuff. You'll also see registration frequency. So this can be great building year after year. So you see that, this time frame was when the most registrations were coming through. Can give you an idea of number one, to when to open registration, when to offer early bird pricing, and all that good stuff. All right. Couple other things I'd point out here. So in terms of being able to drive traffic, and again, build on your event year after year, is our referral link. Uh, uh, abilities. So what you're able to do is generate as many referral tracking links as you'd like. So our clients will do a specific one for each of their marketing channels. So here we're seeing email, we're seeing paid media, we're seeing organic social, so on and so forth. So what it's doing is every time, and take email for example, every time an attendee is clicking that registration form within that email, I'm sorry, that registration link within that email, it's tracking how many people clicked it, how many people started registration, how many completed it, and then the revenue associated with it. So you can look where are your marketing efforts driving the most return on investment. So very easy, again, to come in here and see that performance. Promo codes, we touched on this. So again, you can kind of, the sky's the limit here. All right. From a registration perspective, that's kind of the ins and outs in a nutshell. Any additional questions on, how the attendee journey works, or how you can get on here and really manage this yourself? Right. Perfect. Well, one last thing I would hit on is the integration side of things. So as I mentioned, we have integrations already with the MemberClick suite of products. So SSO integration, if you want to leverage our registration tool, SSO integration into there. We also we offer webhooks. So if you have people on staff that are want to get a little bit more technical with things, they can start pulling data out of here themselves. And then we're Zapier friendly as well. So very easy to set up different workflows, to different BI tools, business intelligence tools, and really, again, control your data, control what you're collecting, and then control where it's going and how it's being used. All right, pause one last time. Any questions on integrations, data, anything like that? Alrighty. Perfect. Well, let's jump into something a little bit more glamorous, and this is my favorite piece of event technology. So what we're going to be talking about is on-site check-in and badging. So we offer a couple of different solutions. I'll hit on one of them very quickly. So we do offer a bulk badging solution. So even if attendees are registering in member clicks, we can have that information automatically feed into the database. So we offer a bulk badging solution for preprint. So if for your smaller events, something a little easier to manage, at a click of a button, you can preprint all your attendees badges, and that can be done on a standard printer using Avery label stock or Avery badge stock. The kind of the step up from that is going to be your on-demand and check-in and badging. So benefits of the on-demand check-in and badging system when it comes to check-in kiosks, and this is where I want to start, is the revenue opportunity. So with the check-in kiosks, a lot of folks don't realize that it's a very big sponsorship opportunity as you can incorporate a check-in sponsor into that kiosk screen. So as we go, let me skip a few slides here. We'll get to Midwest Clinic, an event we just did about a month ago. So as you can see, the color scheme, the branding is to Midwest Clinic. What they didn't take advantage of is incorporating a check-in sponsor here. So where you see Welcome to Midwest Clinic could easily be a graphic that says Welcome to Midwest Clinic, check-in brought to you by XYZ company. This is something that every attendee coming into the event will have to interact with. Easy sponsorship to push, and easily a tier one sponsorship, in my opinion. All right. So when it comes to the revenue aspect, that's one benefit of on-site check-in and badging. The other benefit is the amount of resources it takes to go in to pull off badging. When you look at preprint, you've got work that you have to do before the event. You've got to preprint the badges. If you're using badge holders, you got to stuff them. You got to alphabetize them. You need card boxes or badge boxes. Um, and it's not the prettiest. It's not the most glamorous, and it definitely doesn't give the attendee that wow factor when they arrive on site. Um, so with the on-demand check-in and badging system, you can reduce staff. So everything can be attendee facing. And let me back up a slide here. So take this setup for example. This was completely attendee self-serve. Attendees checked in at the check-in kiosks. They then, after they, here in the bottom left, like I said, the attendees check in themselves. Once they check in and trigger that print job, their badge was actually printing back here. So by the time the attendee hit that print button and made their way to the printers, their badge was waiting there for them. So in terms of setup and configuration, again, we'll work with you in a consultative approach to make sure what we're doing is going to resonate with your audience. Sometimes it's going to be, we'll recommend a crawl, walk, run approach, and kind of how to implement these types of solutions. I do here. All right. We'll hop back in. So here's where we would set up. And again, we can empower you to get in here and manage all this stuff yourself, or we can be the experts and do the heavy lifting for you. But here's where you would set up those badge screens or check-in screens. What I want to hit on here is not the flexibility in the graphics. That's pretty self-explanatory, but how attendees interact with it. So a couple of different ways that attendees can look up their record. The easiest is the day of your event. We send the attendees an email. They check that email. They read that email. They do everything they're supposed to. They get to this check-in kiosk. They have that email up. They're going to scan a QR code. It's going to automatically pop their record up. They verify everything's good to go, and away they go. For the 97% of attendees who aren't going to read that email, they can also look themselves up by name. Once they get in to Once they locate the record, we can allow them to do a couple of things. So number one, we can allow them to edit fields. So for me, let's say my admin registered me as Matthew. I don't want people calling me Matthew all event. I go by Matt. I can come in here and make that edit here as I check in. We can allow them to do it, or we can lock it down. Another great thing is, let's say that Emily had a really long last name, maybe it's hyphenated, whatever have you. She's able to size down her name and see how that's going to render on the badge in real time, um, so on and so forth. In terms of, let's go back to the PowerPoint here. Any questions on kind of the attendee experience? I'll stop there for a second when it comes to check-in. Alrighty. Perfect. And in terms of badges, we offer a number of different types. When it comes to the type of badge for your event, really it comes down to the purpose and kind of what you're trying to convey. In the association space, heavily being educational, and uh, what is very popular in the association space right now is what's called a poly badge. So it's a blended paper, but it's durable paper. So it doesn't take badge holders, lanyards can clip directly to it. What the poly badge also gives you easy flexibility to do is double-sided printing. So some clients want, the front of the badge to, have your standard information, first name, last name, company, QR code, attendee type, maybe. Maybe on the back of the badge, they want the attendee's dynamic agenda printed. We have the ability to set up all that logic in the badging system to really print the badge that your attendee needs. For your big annual event, and just giving an example here, maybe you have some VIPs or members of the year that you want to recognize. Maybe you want to recognize them with a star or a trophy on the badge. We can incorporate, like I said, all that logic to tackle those different things. Any questions? All righty. Perfect. Well, the next solution in order of operations I'd show you is going to be, and this is a set of solutions that I think sets us apart in the marketplace because I don't believe anyone does this as well and as flawlessly as we do it. So when it comes to attendance tracking and CEU management, attendance tracking, pretty straightforward. Was the attendee in this room or not? We can take it a bit further and actually do time in room. So some of our clients have accrediting bodies for their CEUs. They need to prove that a certain attendee was in a certain session for a certain amount of time. So let's say it's 45 minutes. What we can do is really automate that for the entire event team. So, or whoever's handling CEUs for the event. What that attendee flow is going to look like is when they walk into a session, they'll get their badges scanned. That's either going to be by a staff member, or maybe it's the honor system when we're setting up a kiosk where attendees can scan themselves in. But the attendee is going to scan themselves in. They are going to, once the system picks up that attendee has met the requirements for that room, they're going to automatically get sent an email that says, hey, see that you were in that room for the allotted amount of time. Click here to take your survey and get your credits, or whatever the business rules are there. And I'll show you what that looks like. All right. Now, this is one thing you should never do on a demo is try to experiment, but this I'm gonna do it. All right, so I created this quiz. The last 3 times I've shown this, I created this quiz and I have failed it. So let's see with you all if I can get things right. So let me back up a second. So again, what's going to happen once the threshold's met or the requirements for that session is met, they're going to get an email saying, hey, great, click this link, come to your attendee portal, and take your survey or your quiz. The quizzes and surveys can be as customized really as the forms I was showing you. So you can ask the attendees anything. You could even make it so that they have to get a certain score and get a certain amount of questions right in order to proceed. So what that's going to look like, I've got a simple set of questions here. Let's see if I can get all these right. All of these are right, and then I'll just put no here. Now we're going to submit. Fingers crossed that I get everything right. Yes. All right, now it's going to take me back to the survey list. What you're seeing here is I now have the ability to get my certificate. So it's showing how many credits I've earned throughout the event. And then I can come here and get my own certificate, download it, print it out, whatever have you. Here, I've just got my personal information pulled in. However, we could have session-specific information pulled in as well with the associated credits that they've earned. Any questions on session tracking and CEUs? All right. Perfect. Now, one last thing I'll hit on when it comes to this attendance tracking module here, and we should probably think about maybe renaming it because it does so much more. And in my personal opinion, it's one of the best values that we offer. Now, this attendance tracking module can double as a couple of different things. It can obviously do your standard attendance tracking, counting how many people came into a room, gating access, should a participant not be in that room. And like I said, can calculate time in room. What it can also do is be used as event check-in. So let's say you don't need badges, but you want to know who's showing up to your event. Again, that QR code email that we send out can act as their quote unquote badge. And we can set this up to act as your event check-in. The third aspect of this is going to be your ticket and activities. So by tickets, what I mean is, let's take drink tickets. Let's say you have an event, you want to give all of your members 2 drink tickets. Let's make it very easy for them and tie that to the QR code on their badge. So what that flow would look like is the bartender would have our app downloaded on their phone. As an attendee came up to get a drink, they would scan their badge, and it would deduct one of their drink tickets from their bucket, so to speak. And then if they get their 2 drinks and they try to go up to the bartender again, bartender's going to say, "Hey, pal, you gotta pay for this one." And then same thing with activities. So actually, let me use swag. Same thing for swag. Let's say you have swag bags, 1 per attendee. Maybe they're pretty cool. You want to make sure that attendees are just getting one. Again, we can set it up for redemption as well. Any questions? Right. All right. Well, last solution in this suite is lead retrieval. So the lead retrieval can be a big revenue generator to help offset cost when it comes to event technology. So a couple different models, and what lead retrieval is for those who may not be as versed in it is an easy way for your sponsors or your exhibitors to gather attendee information. So don't have to worry about PII or anything like that. But exhibitors have to give permission in order for an attendee's have to be given permission in order for an attendee's badge to be scanned. Apologies, folks, I've been talking all day. But yeah, very easy way for, like I said, exhibitor sponsors to get interested attendees information. They can also do qualifiers, so and take notes within the lead retrieval app. So they meet with an attendee. It's very easy for them to tag, hey, they're interested in this product, that product, and this product. And for them to take personal notes or record a conversation. So lots of power here. From the exhibitor point of view, has a big impact on ROI on trade show spend. From an organizer and an organization standpoint, like I said, it can be a great way to generate some extra revenue. A couple of different ways that we offer this to organizations. For those who are more versed in lead retrieval, know what your adoption rate is, it may make sense for you to look at doing a bulk buyout from us. So what that means is you purchase a certain amount of license up front. You're able to mark up those licenses and sell them at an upsell to your exhibitors. For those organizations that run a little bit run a little bit leaner, maybe don't have the resources to really push lead retrieval as they should. We also offer a direct sales model. We'll handle everything from A to Z in terms of fulfillment and all that good stuff and marketing to your exhibitors. And then we will give you a revenue share on that. So lots of great ways. Long story short, lead retrieval is something that can be at no cost to you and actually be a revenue generator. To dive a little bit more kind of in the ins and outs and show you, I'll go ahead and act like I'm going to sign up for lead retrieval, make up an email address. We'll set, regardless of which model you go to, you decide to go with, whether that's bulk purchasing or having us do direct sales for you. We're going to set up a lead retrieval order site. We'll work with you on pricing to your exhibitors. So, what's going to resonate the most and what's going to maximize adoption. We offer a couple of different options when it comes to what exhibitors can purchase. It can be as simple as purchasing an app license that they're downloading on their own phone, or they could rent a device from us that comes with the app already on it. Reasons behind why an exhibitor may prefer to rent a device as opposed to just downloading the app on their own phone. With the rental devices, they come in scanning sleds, so it's easier to scan attendees' badges. With the rental device, you don't have to worry about personal or other work notifications coming through as you're interacting with an attendee, making notes, doing qualifiers, and that sort of thing. So, any questions? That is kind of the RegTech suite in a nutshell. Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here, Katie. So, please share my contact information with the crowd. Happy to answer any questions around event tech. I love talking events, even if it's not something you're leveraging from us. Happy to give you my honest opinion and try to point you in the right direction. So, all right.
Matt, would you
Well,
like to share your email in the chat so that everybody has it?
oh yeah, absolutely.
And I'll just share with everyone else that's here. If you want to see what your fellow state and regional associations are doing with event planning and conference planning, please check us out on Exchange and ask any questions that you have there. Great. And Matt just shared his email in the chat.
Great. Well, Katie, thanks so much again. Acro, it was great presenting in front of you guys. I hope you found it useful. And again, don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. So everyone enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.